Retiring comfortably is a cornerstone of the American dream, but that's getting more and more difficult as the cost of living keeps going up.
So what can we do right now to make sure we're on the path towards retiring rich, or at least comfortably rich? Bloomberg News personal finance reporter Suzanne Woolley is here. Is this even possible anymore? Is there a reasonable amount of money that you need? Is there a set dollar amount you need to retire comfortably?
Everyone wants to find some perfect dollar amount, and there are all sorts of surveys that come out, and they're like, oh, it's 1.2. No, now it's up to 1.4. But it's very personal. It depends, like, where you live, what your lifestyle is. Do you want to travel all over the world in style, or are you more chill and you just want to sort of, like, garden in your backyard? It's super personal. I know, right.
You've written this amazing article, and it's put together so wonderfully visually as this interactive, how you should think about retirement at different stages of your life as you approach retirement. So let's start at the beginning, when you're in your 20s and 30s, and the counsel there is start early and pick wisely.
Yes.
What should one be picking at a young age?
Well, one should be picking to dive into their 401k if it's available.
Put money in if you can.
Put money if you can.
That was the first advice I got at my real job from the old timers. They were like, max it out, do it now.
Yes.
They were right?
Yeah, they were right. It's simple. Getting that money in early is going to make it so much easier to arrive at a comfortable retirement because it will be compounding. So it's really an incredibly powerful thing to do. You may not be able to get the full match, depending on how much you're making, and trying to get the match, if your company offers a match, is obviously amazing because, as everyone says, it's free money.
Yes.
But that is like a really important first step. And also, when you're doing that, realizing that you're young, you can take on a fair amount of risk. So you should be heavily into stocks. You do want to have some sort of emergency fund because you don't want to put everything in your 401k, and then if you have a sudden emergency, your car breaks down, something happens and you need a bunch of cash, you don't want to break into your 401k.
Don't do that. I've been told, as you've been told by old timers, I've been told likewise, don't break into the 401k unless it's like really worst case.
But I wonder if that advice holds in an economy when so many people are getting laid off. Like, I probably should have invested more, but I had periods of inconsistent work and I needed that liquidity. But you say it's still good advice? I mean,
it's still good advice, but again, you have to adjust it to your situation. And I do think that given that our jobs all seem a lot more tentative now, I still want to put money in the 401k, but I might want to try beefing up my emergency savings more than I might have 2 years ago.
Okay.
So now let's move on to somebody maybe in his 40s, 20-something years out from retirement. The counsel there is get guidance. So you may have been, hopefully you're putting money in up until this point. What do the conversations need to have happen at that point when you're in your 40s and thinking more realistically, I guess, about retirement?
I think right now, this age is a great time to try and find a good financial planner that you trust. It's not easy because there's no perfect way to find a financial planner. There just isn't. A lot of people find it through their friends who've been working with someone from a long time and they trust. There are certain certifications to look for that say this person is serious and has gone through training.
Does everyone need one? I never thought I had enough money to need a financial planner, quite frankly.
I mean, when you're very young, I'm not sure if you need them. The need becomes greater as you do get older in your 40s and 50s, and there are more tax situations, and you're planning for retirement, and you've got a lot of competing priorities for your money, and you need to maybe be planning for, God forbid, long-term care down the road. These sort of things that you really need to plan for, in your 50s, say, that you can't wait until you're 65 to start focusing on them. So you need to lay some groundwork. And I just find a good financial planner can help you put things in focus. It just helps you focus on what you have. You may be in better shape than you realize because you're not thinking, oh, I do have this base of Social Security, if we all believe it's going to be there.
I just said that before you came in.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. You may be in better shape than you realize. It's not always going to be, oh my God, you're never going to retire.
You also talk about discipline meets dedication, stepping up your contributions, but things like maybe downsizing a little bit early. Mm-hmm. Why is that, and what does that look like?
It could get you ahead a little bit. It could, move you along the path a little bit faster if, say, you downsized a home and you could pay for your next one in cash and had some left over to put into your savings. That was what one financial planner I spoke with talked about. Doing that earlier rather than later. Some people don't realize that homes can be really expensive to maintain. Yeah. All the money you put into it, like the tree maintenance, the boiler breaks, the this, the that, it all adds up, and you don't even realize.
Tanks. My parents had to replace a line to their propane tank this week.
Yes.
It was $800.
Yes, it's all stuff like this, and you don't really realize it. So, if you downsize to a smaller house, you may be able to have, you may still have issues, but hopefully they will be smaller issues.
All right, so that's like 10 years out, 5 years out, you say to practice retirement.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That sounds wonderful.
I know.
To me at this stage.
I agree.
I really liked that. One idea is, we all think there are a bunch of things we want to do in retirement. We want to, start volunteering at our local ASPCA or various sort of hobbies. Like, start easing into that now, in a way. Go to your local ASPCA on Sundays, maybe, walk a dog for a little while. Get to know the organization and know if that's really sort of what you want to do. So test it out that way. And the less... the not as fun part, maybe, is to, if you figured out with your planner, and the planners can be this great in forcing you to figure out a budget, because creating a budget is just awful.
Nobody likes it.
Sorry.
Maybe the planners do.
Maybe they do, but I found it torturous. Yeah. And, so they can sort of help you come up with that amount. And if you sort of 6 months, try to live on that amount.
Yeah.
Are you being realistic? Are you forgetting about, your huge dry cleaning bills? So just 6 months or so, trying to live on what you think you can live on in retirement can be really instructive.
Yeah.
But it can also be, I don't want to say fun, because it's not, but it was amazing to me in times of when I had to buckle down a little bit. You can probably live on a lot less than you're living on and not drastically change your lifestyle, right? You can still have a good retirement, maybe just not order out every single day and things like that.
Yeah, you just you spend more mindfully. And there are a lot of things. I subscribe to way too many Substacks and way too many things. I could easily lop out a couple hundred a month just by doing that, So there are a lot of little things like that on the edges.
You may not need Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and Apple Music and Spotify. Not that I have all of those.
I know. Yeah, it's true. It's true. So there's more that you can play with than you probably think.
Let me ask you lastly just about, you mentioned at the beginning when you're young, maybe you're willing to take on more risk, or you can take on more risk. A lot of folks just put money in these targeted funds, guessing the date at which they're going to retire. A good idea to do that, or does it kind of inure you to some of the decisions you're suggesting people have to make?
Interesting. I am generally a fan of target date funds. A lot of us are auto-enrolled in them when we join our plan, and which I think is good, because a lot of people, if they aren't auto-enrolled, way back in history, you used to be put into cash, and people would just sort of sit there. So target date funds are a good way to get a diversified portfolio. I don't think they're all as low fee as I would like, and I think that it would be great if people actually paid more attention to what's in their target date fund, because most people just sort of set it and forget it, which can be a good strategy in a way. You don't want to get too tied up in your money and freak out about it all the time, but a lot of people don't even know, how much of my target date fund is in stocks, how much is in bonds,
what the mix is.
Yeah, and it's just good to be educated.
Do you think you're ever going to fully retire?
I don't think so.
I wasn't getting that vibe off of you. We did another story about how people aren't really fully retiring as much anymore. So I was just curious.
No, I don't actually want to. I really love working. I would hope that I would continue writing and find other projects to do. But, the concept of being able to travel when I want to, where I want to, is great.